channel of your praise. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where there's doubt, true faith in you.
Hi, I'm Carolina Castorena, and this is Visions of Inspiration. Welcome to the show. I have some amazing guests here right now. I've got someone I just pulled out of the audience and brought him in here so he could kind of see what my friend is doing with the energy healing. This is amazing. I'd like to introduce Nan Harjani.
Thank you.
Okay, and Francisco Roblero.
Thank you.
How are you both doing?
Good.
Good.
I'm doing well, thank you.
Now, let's go back a little bit on what we talked about in the
right.
beginning on energy healing.
Okay.
Now, what does energy healing mean, real quick?
Right. Again, energy healing is the life force that goes through a physical body, and that it passes through 7 different points in the body called the chakras, and that this life force be allowed to freely move up and down within the physical body. So that would be the energy. And when the life force or the energy doesn't move through the body, then we have a balancing issue. And so you get someone like me to come in and balance that individual.
Wow. So this will work like people that have asthma, people that have back problems, people that have migraine headaches and
Absolutely.
all that.
Yeah. We've also done experiments where we can actually slow the heartbeat down.
Wow.
We can actually reduce the blood sugar level.
Oh, my goodness.
Because all it is just energy. And so you can learn how to restrain it or augment it.
Wow. It's amazing. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I agree.
Wow. So you're going to be the one that they're going to work on today. How do you feel about that?
I'm nervous here.
No, we don't
got
bite.
you tied down to the chair? Well, that's amazing. Now, the process takes about how long? Versus medical science versus what you do.
Right. If you go to a doctor's office, they're probably going to take your blood pressure, your temperature, and just get some basic baselines on you.
Okay.
We, on the other hand, will look at, for example, Francisco's aura field.
Okay.
And all we have to do is just look. And the minute we look, we can assess what it is. Now, again, as I said in the other segment, auras can be taught. So I can teach you how to look at an aura. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate on our patient here today on how to do this. Now, all I would do is I would look at him and I would find where the kinks are. In his case, there are some kinks, but really not kinks at this point in time that I want to take any drastic approach on. So let me explain where the 7 points are on the physical body. The first one's on the top of his head at the back.
Okay.
The second one is roughly around his forehead.
Okay.
The third one is around his throat.
Uh-huh.
The fourth one is in the upper part of the body.
Okay.
The next one is on the middle part of the body. The next one's on the lower part of the body. And the last one's at the end of the body. Those are the 7 points. Now, in addition to those 7 points, there are some energy pathways that line in the body. And these are the energy pathways mostly used by people that do acupuncture, and they're called meridians. Okay. So he's got a meridian going down the left side of his body and a meridian that's going down the right side of his body. And there are certain points in the body that you can touch or point, at least I can point my finger at, because I don't do acupuncture, that I can release pressures, that I can make him feel comfortable, that I can relax him, that I can repair if there's a need to repair. So in his case, at this point, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing an opaque white. I'm also seeing a couple other colors that are coming in. We have a light green on that shoulder on the far side, which would be his right shoulder. And let me stop and explain those colors before I move ahead of myself.
Good. Okay.
The white color that I see is he's pretty balanced. So to use a colloquial term, I would say he's fairly mellow. On the shoulder that has the problem, it depicts two different things. He's either working through a problem on an emotional level that has to do with control and control of his life as opposed to someone else controlling his life. There also seems to be a slight problem with a part of his physical body that's a little tired, and it's on that side of the body from just about where his shoulders begin to about where his elbow is on the body. So you can say yes or you can say no to that, and it's okay.
Yes, I can agree.
Okay. So this is how we would assess the person.
Oh.
That was very simple.
For you?
Right. Yes, because that's the work that I do, and I enjoy doing the work. Now, there are simple ways to just address the problems. One of the ways is we could verbally bring it out and say, okay, you have this problem, this is how we're going to fix you. Or, without even talking to Francisco here, all I have to do is just touch a certain part of his body. And in this case, I'm going to touch back here, and what I'm doing here is I'm actually touching the throat area because there's a blockage between his middle of his body, which is known as the solar plexus, the heart area, which is known as the heart chakra, and the throat area, which is called the throat chakra. Now, in his case, he's got energy blocked in between these 3 points. So it is depicting itself in the aura colors that I told you on his right side, because that's where the main problem is. But those are the 3 areas that he's got blocked. So if I put my hand just over his solar plexus, he may feel something, or he may say, I feel nothing. I can do the same thing with his heart area, and what I'm feeling in my hand is a pounding back and forth of heat and a certain vibration. And I don't know, do you feel this or not?
No, I don't.
Okay, great. And then that would be the throat area, and I can feel it right up to here. So in his case, I would say the problem that I talked about, he doesn't want to discuss it with anybody. He wants to work it out.
Okay.
The problem that is in his body on the right side has to do with his work. And he's trying to figure out what it is, because this area typically tells you about work and work-related issues. The part that is in between that's being impacted is how it's impacting his own interpersonal relationships. So if you're married with your wife, if you're not married with your significant other, if you have children with your children, if you have brothers and sisters with them, with coworkers, and so on and so forth. So that's how we would assess it. Okay, so I would say to you, if you're married, the questions I would ask is, are you and your wife having disagreements?
Yes.
Okay, and once you say that, the color actually changes. Because as I'm asking you this, I'm unkinking you without even touching you.
Okay.
Because we're addressing the issue. And so the next thing I would say is, if you have an issue with your wife, what is the issue and can it be fixed? And you can say yes and you can say no.
Yes, it can be fixed.
Then the thing is to go fix it. So most of the people, I know you're going to give me a line. Most people may not know how to fix.
That's what I was going to ask you. How do I fix it?
So what I would do is I would fix you. So when you interact with your wife, then the interaction between you and your wife is going to be more amicable. You're going to find a meeting of minds, a common ground. Okay? So if I put my hand on your shoulder like so, describe to me, other than my hand being on your shoulder, what is happening with your body?
I feel a tingling right here.
Okay. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I identified that part of the body. So I'm actually going through, by touching your body physically and augmenting or reducing the amount of energy that you have there. By the way, you have a lot of energy there. So all I'm doing is I'm using a concept called grounding, which means I'm taking away unneeded or unnecessary or unwanted energies. Now, the more I go through this, without even saying anything to you, you're going to get your answers on how to repair whatever the outstanding issue is with your wife. And I'm going to tell you that it's a bit about ego, it's a bit about lack of communication, and it's a bit about what you want that you cannot clearly tell her because she's unable to receive it. And when she doesn't know, then she gets into a fear level, and when she gets into fear level, certain sort of guards go up, and once those go up, then you start arguing.
Yes.
Okay, so that's as simple as that.
And that's all true, huh?
Yes, it is.
Amazing. Wow.
So it's very easily doable, and the more I'm doing this, you can tell that the pressure on that right side of your upper body is becoming more relaxed, and I would say that your legs are also becoming more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Feel like sleeping?
No, not right now. Little.
Very relaxed.
Kind of like a. You know, after you smoke a cigarette, your kind of body kind of mellows out.
Right. So this would be a way of just mellowing you out to release your body from the pains and the pressure, so your mind can actually think about the problem at hand.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to remove my hand. Now, it's very good that you mentioned cigarettes, because we had in the last show, we were talking about addictions.
Yes.
And someone could say that smoking is an addiction.
Yes, it is.
All right, so by doing what I did very briefly here, that we could actually change the way the energy is flowing through a body, in this case his body, and the next time he goes out and has a cigarette, it's not going to taste as good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So typically a session lasts for about 55 minutes, and at the end of that session, your mind is released from that smoking.
Wow.
So it might be a while before you actually want to smoke, and when you do smoke immediately after that, that cigarette just doesn't taste good.
What about liquor or?
It would be the same. It would be the same process. There's more intensive work that's done with alcohol, because with alcohol, what you have here is you're trying to forget a problem, and what we're doing here is we're bringing forth the problem. So we're going to make it so that you can't get any alcohol, but you've got to deal with the problem, and we put you in a relaxed state so you can.
So did you put him in such a relaxed state that he was actually falling asleep?
Before?
Yes.
Before I started on him? Yes, because part of the energy work that I do, I expand my own energy to encompass him. So like putting him in an environment. And so before we invited him up from the audience, he's already feeling it.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting.
That is interesting, yes. Not only is it interesting, but it also shows you empirically how the work that we do actually comes out into play, and how the performance is. Now, before you sitting down here, I've never met you before, correct?
No.
But yet we talked about different things and you confirmed me. So this is an example of someone I don't know. Within a minute or so, we're identifying certain problems, and things are happening for the positive.
How does that feel to you?
Well, I don't know how it feels. Kind of a little relaxed. It's more interesting that he knows that I'm having problems with my wife than anything. And yeah, they're like you said, they're problems that can be fixed. It's more of a ego issue, and
On whose
right
part?
It'd be on my part.
Yeah, I would say more on his part.
Oh.
Yeah, it's more on my
You have
part.
children?
Yeah, I have two.
Okay, so she's more concerned about how you're interacting and how the children are going to receive your interaction with her
Yes.
than she is having a fight with you.
Yeah, she wants me to be there more, and
Okay.
I'm more into hanging out with my friends.
Okay. So if you want the disagreement to subside, be with the kids more.
Yeah.
In the last segment, I was talking about crying. He's just producing it. So this is my visual by looking at him, that he's actually connected with the problem and he knows how to resolve it. Doesn't need me. We're done.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to keep in contact so I could find out how and what happened.
Yeah, I just gotta go home and deal with the problem now.
But it isn't a problem anymore. You have a solution.
Yeah.
So it's a question of just communicating that solution among yourselves, right?
Yes.
You know, what's really interesting, what you just said about ego. How damaging is the ego when it gets in the way?
Right. I would term that as a philosophy question. So let me give you my point of view on ego. I think that all of us need ego to live in this world.
Okay.
When it becomes a detriment, we have an overabundance of it.
Okay.
So if you are an interviewer and you don't have sufficient ego, you couldn't be interviewing me. You couldn't have a guest on your show. So you need to have a certain amount of ego.
Right.
Ego helps you do part of your work.
Okay.
Most of us don't understand that we close out everything else and get into only ourselves, and that ego grows. So an abundance of ego, like anything else, is not good.
Right.
So we really need to understand how to balance our egos, and when we're overstepping our bounds and when we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we can learn that, then we would have less conflict in the world.
How would you learn that?
By understanding what you're doing.
So that's where you would fit in, by helping them, like what you did with him. Francisco, you were able to go right to the source,
Right.
and help him be able to deal with what he needs to deal with.
Yes.
I mean, you know how long that would have taken for a therapist to do that? Years.
Well, like you, I've been through therapists here and there.
Oh, I've been through many therapists and hospitals and programs, and
Right.
you know, and it's just like I've touched only the surface.
Right. Well, again, my personal sense of it is that we're not doing this alone. We're doing it in conjunction with someone else.
Right.
And then subsequently there's a community around you. So for some people, they might need to be with a therapist for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. That's part of their healing process. And for some of them, they may want to get it done fast. And that's okay too. And if the
Yeah.
therapist can't handle it, then perhaps someone like I can handle it. So again, I believe it's a team effort, not only of the therapist, but of me, but of the person who's receiving the information.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that the person has to be ready
Yes.
to receive it.
Yes.
So in other words, you were ready to receive it, and that's why you were able to receive it. Is that true? For you?
Yes, I would. Everybody would like to solve their problems, or I would. Hopefully, most people would.
If they ever realize that they even have a problem. Some people don't reach that point that they have a problem, but yet everybody else can see it. But you know, you were able to say, I want to better my life. I want to, be a better person, or I want to deal with the issues that I have. So you're willing to do all that. That's the key right there.
I think everybody has issues, though. That's
Oh yeah.
Everybody does. And no one's immune to that.
Even he does.
Even I do. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's just I think you're right. Just acknowledging the fact that you do have problems.
Yeah, I think that's primary. Now, it's interesting, as I look at Francisco's aura, it is no longer light green on his right shoulder, but it's all almost clear white. So at some level, the balancing has concluded.
Wow.
So I would say that we don't call his home tonight because he's going to have a very high quality time with his family tonight. And they'll sense it by him just walking in the house.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you put a value on that?
No,
Can't. It's amazing.
I agree. Thank you. I appreciate your help.
You're welcome. And again, this can be taught. And if we can teach people in relationships, because everything is a relationship, if we can teach people that are in relationships, or as I said in the prior show, if we can teach at the school level, the elementary level, then we wouldn't come to a point where there might be a conflict of this kind.
Right.
Conflict will always be there,
That's true.
but we can minimize the amount of conflict we have in our lives.
And it's almost like, you're sharing about this on TV. People at the end of the credits, you're going to be able to get his phone number and give him a call. You want to learn this process, you want to get some healing, or whatever it is that you're interested in, his phone number's there, and it's an 800 number, so you're welcome to call him. Now, you're going to have classes too.
Yes. My organization is global.
Okay.
We are in a number of different countries. We give seminars, we give classes. Classes are designed in a number of different ways. If you just want to learn it for yourself, great. If you want to learn it to help others, we can also do that. And so if you look at the consultants that are with us that do the kind of work that I'm showing you today, every one of those consultants has committed to helping others in the world. And they're lay people. They do, regular jobs. They're not anybody special. I don't think anybody is special, but all of us are very special. So when you go onto our phone numbers and learn a little bit more about us, you'll get a better understanding of how we do it. We have seminars that are half days, classes that are full days, and weekend workshops. And we again do them throughout the country, and we do them throughout the world. And for your viewers, when they call the 800 number, they can ask to be put on the mailing list or go onto our website. We'll certainly give them that information.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, I think I heard you mention something about that he's trying to decide what kind of work he wants to do. Maybe this might be it. Who knows? That just came out of me, because you seem like the type of person that wants to help people, and who knows? I mean, I think that's great,
Yeah, he's very receptive to the work that I'm doing. So at a minimum, I would say he'd be a very good candidate to be one of our consultants, because he has a natural tendency, the natural sympathy and empathy to really tune into the energies. And so a candidate that might want to do the work to help others would be someone like Francisco, who's sitting here, who can feel what I'm doing when I'm touching, who can respond immediately to the words or the questions that I pose to him. And he's not at that point, he's not in a level of denial. So yes, this is the kind of person that can be taught.
Oh, interesting.
And once he's taught, he can actually see his way through the kind of work that he needs to do.
Wow.
In a real 9-to-5 situation.
You've written a couple of books.
Yes.
Can you share about that?
I sure can. We have a number of books that talk about not only the healing aspects of it, but we also have a number of books that talk about the intuitive work that we do. And the books that are out there talk about how, on a very simple level, this is done. And we've shared some of that on this program. And it's a very easy read for those that wish to read it. And then we also have books that talk about just how people perceive this and the experiences that they've had. We'll also have a book that's coming out that has to do with astrology, because I think astrology is a key component to the work that we do. And so we're melding that to give you an idea of what's coming down the year.
Wow. That is so interesting. Where do you find time to do all this?
Yeah, I make time because it's important. Yeah.
Now, you've helped a lot of people. You're global. You've been on NBC. And where else have you?
Yeah, we frequently we're frequently in the press. We're frequently in the media. But I think that's great because it gets the word out there. Our real passion is to do the work, and how we get to the folks to do the work, whether that's through an interview like we're doing here today, or through a news article, or through our books, or someone finding us on our website, or someone saying to someone, "Hey, you should talk to these guys." But I think the bottom line for us is we're here to help. Yeah. And how can we reach you to help you?
I mean, can you imagine helping people with addictions, asthma, diabetes, I mean, you name it. Any illness that's in the body, not only physically but emotionally, you can help them and get through it so much more faster. Not that, like we said, the physicians are needed too. But I think this is awesome.
Yeah. Again, Caroline, the underlying the underlying component is if the receiver doesn't want the help,
It's not going to happen.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So we need to understand that as a base. And again, we know when the person's coming to us, they're asking for our help. And then we present them with the help. And whether they choose to accept it or not is totally up to them. But we know we can do the work that we can do because we've had many testimonials of the work that we've done that have come back to us and said, I don't have migraines anymore. The cancer in my body's gone. I don't feel angry anymore. Things like that. And these are people that have gone through getting the information that we've provided them.
It's amazing. Do you have anything to add to this?
No, but I would like to attend one of your classes.
Great. And at the end of the show, I'll be happy to give you that information. And as our host has said, at the end of this show, there's going to be an 800 number. Yes. And that's a good way to get a hold of me, too.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so do you feel any better?
A little more relaxed. Not like a cigarette, a little more relaxed than that, actually. Without the nausea.
Without the nausea, okay.
That's good. Okay. Nate, do you have anything, Nat? Do you have anything to add to that, please?
Yeah, I would like to just tell your audience that this is something not to be feared. This is something that is very commonplace. This is something that happens on a day-to-day basis. And if they choose to experience it, it will just enhance their life. If they choose not to, then that's okay too.
Thank you, both of you, for being on my show, Francisco and Nat. Thank you so much. This is Carolina Castorena, Visions of Inspiration. Please get a hold of that number. This is awesome. Okay, God bless all of you. God bless your troops.
Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where they start true faith in you, make me a channel of your peace. Where there's despair in life, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, only light. And where there's sadness, every